Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we'll be taking a look at a fantastic game played by the legendary Bobby Fischer. This game was played in the Interzonal Tournament of 1970, which served as a requirement for the 1972 World Chess Championship. His opponent playing with the black pieces is William Addison. He made a notable second place finish in the US Chess Championships to qualify for this tournament. Let's see how Fischer deals with his strong opponent. Fischer opens up the game with one pawn to e4. His opponent replies with d5 to Scandinavian. And according to many publications at the time, when Fischer saw this move, he had a huge laugh. That is because he used to consider this opening as inferior. He replies with e takes on d5, forces black to take back with the queen, knight c3 gaining a tempo. Nowadays, moves like queen to a5 and queen to d6 are far more popular. But in those days, queen d8 was considered to be the main move for black. That is what Addison plays, which in my opinion just wastes time. Fischer decides to grab more space in the center with d4, knight to f6, and by today's standards, Bobby Fischer does not continue with the most accurate move. He plays bishop to c4. This allows black to play bishop to g4 and gain a tempo by harassing the queen. However, black did not play that. In the game, black played bishop to f5, and this allowed Bobby Fischer the very strong queen to f3, pressurizing both the bishop on f5 and the b7 pawn. Addison had to defend with queen to c8, and now Fischer plays bishop to g5, completely ignoring the defense of the c2 pawn because he preferred activity above anything. Black decides to capture it, rook c1 gaining a tempo, bishop to g6, and Fischer develops the knight. We have knight b to d7 by Addison, castles, e6, and here Fischer plays bishop takes on f6, which has been dubbed as a mistake. What Fischer had in mind was after knight takes on f6, pawn to d5, trying to open up the center, and once it is taken, knight takes on d5, bishop e7 is played by black, preparing to castle. White has all the necessary tactics working in his favor, starting with knight takes on c7. Brilliant knight sacrifice. Black will be forced to give up the queen. Then comes the bishop sacrifice, and white wins the queen and the game. However, what Fischer overlooked after pawn to d5 was the move pawn to e5. And now black will just play bishop to d6 and castle out to safety. In the game though, after bishop takes on f6, his opponent failed to spot that idea. He played g takes on f6, admitting to using the g file for attack against the white king. Anyways, we have d5 trying to open up the center. Addison of course prevents it with e5. We have bishop to b5 pinning the knight, bishop e7, knight to g3, a6 kicking the bishop back, and here comes bishop back to d3. And here Addison plays queen to d8. Had Addison castled, then comes bishop to f5. And the problem here is that black is screwed up in the pin. If you take, then after bishop takes, knight takes, this bishop could no longer be saved because if bishop c5, then queen g4, and black is getting checkmated on the next move. So queen to d8 was played, avoiding the pin. And now comes pawn to h4, threatening pawn to h5. The black of course stops it with pawn to h5, and now bishop to f5. We have knight to b6, and Fischer yet again decides to sacrifice the pawn by playing knight to e4, as he again preferred activity. Knight takes on d5, and this allows Fischer to play rook f to d1, and both the rooks are controlling the open file very well. So c6 was played. Fischer improves the position with knight c3, pressurizing the knight even more. So queen to b6 was played, and this is the final mistake of the game because this allowed Bobby Fischer to execute rook takes on d5, a brilliant rook sacrifice, c takes, and after knight takes on d5, the sacrifice just cannot be refuted. If black decides to go back, then comes bishop takes on g6, and there is some pressure against the f7 pawn. So f captures, and now knight c7 check, and black is losing the queen or he's getting checkmated. So after knight takes on d5, Addison decided to take on b2. And this is the position which kind of baffles me. Despite having a clear winning plan with the move rook to c7, Fischer for some reason decided to delay it. He played rook to b1, gaining a tempo on the queen. Although this is very much winning, this just allows black some chances with the move queen to a3. But his opponent was just too busy grabbing pawns and he decided to grab on a2. This just completely eased out the thing for Fischer as he took on b7. And in this position, William Addison decided to resign. He resigned because the bishop cannot be saved. If the bishop is moved anywhere along this diagonal, then there is some pressure against the f6 pawn. And bishop to d8 is a fair try. But then comes bishop takes, f takes, and after knight takes on f6, it's a forced checkmate in 3 moves, and checkmate is basically unavoidable. So that wraps up the game, ladies and gentlemen, which tells you why you should resign when a guy like Bobby Fischer laughs at your first move.